cracking up another cold can of Filmatic, coming at you with a few legends, a few prodigy, chief of which we have newcomer, Beau Agrawal.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on, Beau. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I know you've been following along. You've been a fan.
Yeah, that's right.
Just real quick, what was your favorite episode?
I haven't watched one since the Lighthouse episode.
Wasn't that the first episode?
That was like the third episode.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I'm following along.
I'm a big fan here.
Alright, I think we're gonna take Beau out of the podcast and start over.
Alright, another can, let's do it.
You just heard the voice of Connor Park.
That's
Connor,
me.
happy to have you back on.
Thank you, Nabil. I'm happy to be here.
Well, that makes
Darian,
two people
Nigro.
happy. The rest of this cast are unhappy.
Oh, we got some classic Jeff Williams and Connor Park banter going. Always nice. Always great.
Yeah, whatever.
But we won't bring up the Dolphins right now, but we'll move on.
Sure.
Darian Nigro. Darian, thank you for providing that can sound effect.
Yep.
Good,
What's up, Nabil?
good to know you're enjoying this.
Thanks for bringing me back.
No problem.
Howdy diddly.
Howdy diddly to you too, sir.
Wow, we got some funny guys this week on the podcast.
Oh, funniest guy for last, huh?
Bend over is here.
Oh yeah, I just
What?
want to mention that the Lighthouse is actually the 4th episode. So.
I think we're taking Nabil off the podcast then.
No, don't cancel me. Don't cancel me.
Fake fan.
That brings us to our first topic of conversation. Let us talk about an old issue that we haven't done in a long time. Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
What would you like to say?
Oh, I was nothing.
Yeah, Jeff. What do you want to say about Jeffrey Epstein? Why'd you bring that up? What's your what are your thoughts?
I just wanted to bring up a slight anecdote I have from my day. So, I attend the University of Gamecocks. And
Wait, you want them to do what with your cock?
go Gamecocks? Like a fighting rooster. That is our mascot, Connor.
You fight roosters with your cock, Jeff?
Connor, buddy.
This is like watching a car crash.
Connor, we gotta tone it down here, all right? With the funny guy. All right,
Oh, when it's about
I
me
don't
and the
know.
dolphin, it's fine.
I don't know if it's working out. I don't know if this is working out. This contract we've got going.
Jeff, what?
I don't know if that was part of the cut. I don't know if that was gonna be cut. Fuck. All right, I'll stop talking.
Anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. You know, we're gonna hear Beau's opinion on some topics we've talked about in the past, and we're gonna
All right.
try to broach some new arenas of the movie discussion. So, Beau,
Yes.
most recently, I just figure kick it off. We watched the movie There Will Be Blood,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about it in the most recent episode. You would know that if you were a real fan.
Okay, I did know that actually, but I was not able to watch.
You mean listen to it?
I watched the little icon on my phone, so.
What are your thoughts on There Will Be Blood, Beau? Yeah, good movie, bad movie.
No, I really liked it. I watched it like a month ago, I think, and yeah, I really liked it. Trying to think of something that hasn't been said about it before. The both lead performances are really good and like carry the movie kind of. I think.
How does it stack up for you against other Paul Thomas Anderson movies, if you've seen it?
It's my favorite one. I like it more than The Master, like by a significant amount. Oh no, actually, it's not my favorite one because I like Punch Drunk Love more than that. But I've seen Punch Drunk and The Master and There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights, so I haven't seen Magnolia or whatever the new one is. And there's like
Red.
probably a few. Yeah.
What do you think of Paul Dano? You mentioned the leads. He's going to be playing the Riddler in the new Batman.
Wait, what is he playing? The Riddler?
The Riddler, yeah.
I mean, I assume he'll be good, and that he was really good in There Will Be Blood. I haven't seen him in anything other than that I can think of, other than the Beach Boys movie. But and Swiss Army Man. But I'm trying to imagine him as the Riddler, and probably There Will Be Blood is like the closest I can think he comes to anything like that. But he gets that kind of like the weird kind of, I don't know. He doesn't have like the outgoingness, I feel like, but he can do it his own way, I guess. We'll see. I trust him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Punchable face, which
Oh,
is
very much
perfect for Riddler,
That's
I
true.
think.
Yeah, that is an essential Riddler quality for sure.
I think at some point in There Will Be Blood, he achieves like this unnerving quality that would go well with that character. Or he's capable of reaching what the character will be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously Daniel Day-Lewis performance career day, and so check that episode out.
One of the often touted job in which I also is up there with.
Wait, which one? I didn't hear it. Wait, which performance? I didn't hear what you said.
His performance in the movie Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I was actually just gonna ask if anyone knows anything about that movie because I was kind of
I
curious.
know Manny's a big Lincoln fan.
Hey! Just because you brought this up once. Listen, it's when he's in a movie, he commands the movie. I guess you can say that's his presence. So to be Lincoln and to have that power, I mean, if you're down to watch, I don't know how long it was, but longer than. Very long. So if you're willing to sit through that, a lot of politics stuff, but if you're there for the man himself, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and
Give the movie a shot.
yeah, and Day-Lewis in that movie does an incredible job in encapsulating the turmoil that would have been sitting within Lincoln at that time.
Yeah.
How would you know?
Well,
Just
I'm
kidding,
not
just
saying
kidding.
that
New beef.
Daniel Day-Lewis 100% accurately reflected every single opinion and emotion and feeling that Abraham Lincoln did, but I believe that he did a very great job in his performance, creating a realistic character that I could believe in as being Abraham Lincoln, and that I could relate, despite the his notoriety and his famous being one of our greatest presidents and being the great emancipator. He still made Abraham Lincoln like a person that you could get to know, and you could feel yourself being put into Lincoln's shoes through watching. So I think he just does an incredible job encompassing his character. Stars in.
True.
Yeah. I think it's really going to be interesting to see where the Lincoln cinematic universe goes. I'm really excited for Alexander Hamilton Far From Home. Really excited for that. Is that a good joke? I don't know. I just thought
I liked it.
Far From Home is a good joke.
Oh.
I liked it.
That one went over some people's heads, but you got it, Nabil.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go down that road right
The
now.
movie sucks.
Yep.
All right.
Next.
Next up, John Wick 4 has been pushed to May 2022.
Fuck!
What do we think of the John Wick franchise?
Well, I think one of my favorite things I've seen they've done with John Wick is the Heroes United.
What?
I know we watched that recently.
Oh yes.
Probably save that for a separate episode.
It's an indie film actually. It was made by the director. His name is Mighty Raccoon. It's on YouTube.
He's not actually the director. If you want to get into the specifics, it's that Turkish dude. But
that's true. I guess he's a producer more.
It's more accessible, I guess. To give him
I
that
would really
name.
recommend checking it out. It's a free movie on YouTube. And
Heroes
it's about-
United is a series of direct-to-video films from Marvel Animation.
Yeah, that's what I'm
no,
saying too.
no.
While Iron Man and Hulk. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Heroes United Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's basically an animated saga about all these different pop culture heroes stopping COVID-19. And COVID-19 is personified like zombies.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, COVID-19 is like a virus. It's a pandemic. It's this character that's like trying to take over the world, essentially.
Yeah, kind of like the Joker in a lot of ways.
It's very good that we're giving this context too, because in 30 years, when this becomes the most famous podcast in the history of all podcasts, young kids when they're listening will have no idea what COVID-19 is. So I'm very glad that we.
John Cena's in this.
Yeah, John Cena's breakout role. I think. When did this come out?
April 10th.
All right. April 10th
Yeah,
of what?
April 10th.
2020.
Are you sure?
Thank you. Giving the
Heroes United. I'm looking at it right
when
now.
would April 20?
Could have been last year.
Heroes United
COVID?
Coronavirus would have been last
You
year.
think coronavirus was last year?
Wait, wasn't Bill Gates the director for that movie?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
No, let's be real here. Bill Gates was the executive producer.
All right, fair point, Jeff. Fair point.
All right, we're gonna take a big step back, and
John Wick. Let's talk about it.
let's talk about John Wick. What is the best John Wick movie? What's your favorite?
Well, I
Anybody?
still stand by my statement is that one. Legitimately. That was
Manny,
the most entertaining John Wick performance.
I think you've talked to me about this. What's your opinion? What's the...
Well, based off set pieces, obviously the story's the same throughout. It's just him. Well, first one's him hunting, second one's kind of like in between, and the third one he's on the run. But from like set pieces, action wise, I really like the third one a lot. I don't know if anyone saw Parabellum.
I've only seen the first two,
and it's just the. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it seems like it's rare to get a movie that's so devoted to choreography and modern day action, and also still be entertaining to watch and not boring or disgustingly like cheesy when there are points of dialogue.
Mm-hmm. You can tell definitely that he puts his whole body into the movie. Whether it's shooting the guns, riding the bikes, riding the freaking horse, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, in the third one, there's the scene where it's like a knife fight in like a weapons room, and there's a part where he literally stabs a guy's eyeball. It's pretty insane. It's crazy. And I think that also what that made me think of, I don't know if anyone heard about Extraction. It's a new movie on Netflix.
Yeah, with the Thor guy.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. And I actually haven't seen it yet, but it's been very heavily propagated as Netflix original movie. Something that a lot of people are talking about is how some of the action is insane because the director Sam Hargrave was the stunt double for Captain America in a lot of the Marvel movies, and so he really knows his stuff around action.
That's the same thing for all the Wick movies. With the director's the stunt double for Keanu on the Matrix movies. So like with them having all this knowledge, it's like there's no way they can not create such fun pieces.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, though, the difference between them is that with Extraction, a lot of people were saying that the writing and the dialogue.
I saw something that they put a yellow filter on because it's in Bangladesh, and that ruins it.
What? No, I've seen that. No,
I'm not making a joke. That's real.
I wasn't sure. I just have to be polite.
I know what Beau's talking about there. For some reason, any movie that takes place.
Go ahead.
Any movie that takes place in like a foreign place, they're like, let's put a yellow filter on that bitch so it's in foreign.
Oh, like Breaking Bad style.
Breaking Bad does that, but I think
that takes place in America.
No, it takes place in Mexico. The new one.
Haha.
Okay. Totally lost my train of thought with the Bangladesh.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, fuck you, Beau. Can you
guys? We gotta respect Beau. Okay, it's his first day.
I'm still learning.
It's the worst day. It was the worst last episode. I'm sorry, Beau. I'm really sorry.
No, don't
have to be like that. Okay, Beau. On the last quarantine freestyle, we had a pretty. Most of the podcast was centered around the movies of 2019, being that there were no.
Mm-hmm.
What are your top movies of 2019? What are you
I think my favorite one was Parasite. Probably. I have it listed somewhere. I think I listed my favorite one was Parasite. And Uncut Gems, I really liked a lot. Obviously, Lighthouse. I like Little Women a lot. Hold on, pulling something up.
This video is sponsored by Letterboxd. Letterboxd is an application used for Nabil.
Rating and cataloging movies.
I like Ad Astra a lot. Ad Astra is really cool.
I heard because that's a little.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of boring, I guess, but if you like. It's just like a personal thing. If you like watching like space movies and you like watching Brad Pitt, then you'll like it. And it's also the dialogue's kind of cringy sometimes, but it's also like an interesting take on a astronaut movie, space movie. I don't know. Have you guys seen it?
Mm-mm.
I have not.
It's very like he's like brooding the whole time, and he says some like edgy teenager shit. But it's kind of also Tommy Lee Jones plays his father, and it's cool.
Nice.
Speaking of 2019 movies where Brad Pitt gave an excellent performance, my personal favorite movie of 2019 was Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time.
That was a good one.
It's unquestionably a great film, but even in comparison to some of his other films, I would say that it doesn't even necessarily hold a candle to some of the others that he's directed. But it is still just a movie that is that is absolutely beautiful to follow and leaves you with a sense of satisfaction. And
Mhm.
that's one thing about Tarantino that I really is that at the end you have a sense of resolve and you have a new outlook, or you have just a sense of finality when viewing his work. Be happy with walking.
I think it's cool because it's like kind of a totally new direction stylistically for him.
Yeah,
Kind of
for
like the
one,
Hateful
a
Eight
movie
was.
that you don't see a lot. You don't see a lot of violence in the for the majority of the movie. There's absolutely no violence, but it is not a violent movie, which is what you come to expect from Quentin Tarantino, especially with his last film being The Hateful.
I think going in to see that, because of those expectations, people were a little maybe disappointed or not
Yeah.
feeling it. But I appreciated it. I liked it the first time, but you can definitely, when you know what's going to happen the second time, it's kind of you're there for the whole ride now. You're not anticipating anything but what you've seen, and I think that dials a notch a little bit of enjoyment in the
Yeah,
story.
I've been meaning to rewatch it. Definitely, it's just like a fun experience
Mhm.
with the characters.
Yeah, and it's really, the comparison to Hateful Eight, I think that Hateful Eight, yeah, definitely is a little more violent, but both of them are similar in the sense that the majority of the violence just comes in the last like 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Also, something else, a major part of it that can be appreciated is the fact having to convert the streets of LA into the 60s. It takes a lot of effort to do that. Repainting, like when they do all the shots of the car, it's pretty tight. You don't see any. That's one thing I always look out for, like movies that take place in the past, is like newer cars in the background. In this film, the whole film is tight throughout. It feels like you're there, and they did a really good job of converting.
They shut down the whole Hollywood Boulevard to shoot
Yeah.
for like 3 days or something.
Which
it's insane.
that's just incredible to think about. Such a busy tourist and such just a cultural landmark for that spot to have been shut down in order to film this movie. I think that's incredible because they actually had to come through and deliver a product if they were going to justify shutting down an important area in Los Angeles. I think they for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, set pieces and the whole, like Manny said, the transformation into the past definitely was one of the major things that made this movie, and it wouldn't have worked with a even if they had tried to use more green screen and all that. So it's really nice to see a modern day movie that's very practical.
It's dedicated to it.
Yeah,
I believe that this film, it was almost like he was taking the best parts out of each of his movies in order. So for like, take from Inglourious Bastard, altering the past. That's clearly something.
right.
In Reservoir Dogs and The Hateful Eight, you have these long sequences where basically the characters are all in the same room, and that's essentially what the conclusion of the movie comes down to. I'm not going to spoil it by any. If you haven't seen it, you have to go see it.
I think it's like it's like almost a completely new thing. How it's just like in Hateful Eight, like you said, like they're all in the same room, but also it's like building tension the whole time. And in this movie, it's sort of just like waiting for something to happen. Almost, it's very relaxed.
Yeah, like something's going to happen from the time that you hear the narrator, the final scene, the final concluding scene, the climax of the film, and all his other movies. Whenever that as a Tarantino fan, when you hear a narrator, something's about to happen. They're summarizing everything so you can be just put right in. Yeah, that's something that he takes from his other movies to put into the elaborateness of the conclusion. I find very Jackie Brown, and I find the manner of the violence very similar to that in Hateful Eight, Kill Bill, in finding within that climax.
Yeah, and you guys talk about you point out really good aspects of that last portion being close quarters, majority being in one room or two room, and that leads me to think about, we're in this quarantine, we're all self-isolated, getting a little stir-crazy. Another movie in 2019 that had to do with that was obviously The Lighthouse, and I don't think a lot of people, who's seen it? Me, Manny, Beau, you said.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Okay.
Right. Just really quick, how do you feel that movie dealt tension, building suspense without
for sure the aspect ratio.
True.
It's so constrained, constrained. Constricted. Thank you. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, constricted.
Yeah, it is.
Constricted.
Constrained or constricted, both ways.
It's like there's no space. You're always with them, no matter, or at least with Robert Pattinson, you're always there. It's like you don't have any room to wiggle around as the viewer. It's pretty uncomfortable.
Also, the lighting does a really good job. It's very dark.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell what's going on with their voice, not their voices, but like the dialect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going in and explaining it to people who haven't seen it before, about it being that aspect ratio, and especially about it being black and white, people are like, "Oh man, I hate when they just make movies and shit in black and white for no reason." And I think about it, I'm like, this movie would not work if it was in color. Now that I think about it,
I saw some color pics, and I was like, "Wow, this actually looks like more
like a
beautiful."
comedy, right? Like, yeah.
But like it's just not as like it's a frightening movie, and it's not as I don't know, frightening, I guess, is the only word I can think of without the black and white really adds to that.
You're right, Nabila. It's not done in a gimmicky way. It's not done because the director Robert Eggers wanted to. It's because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about, like, there's so many good rabbit holes you can fall down on videos about screenwriting and directing. I would recommend to anyone who's listening to this kind of podcast, you're probably interested in that stuff, so check it out. But something I actually heard Paul Thomas Anderson talk about writing is that when he's writing a story, it comes to you in a certain way and tells you how it should be written, how it should be portrayed. And I think with Robert Eggers, it's like, if he would have tried filming it in any other way, it just wouldn't have been right for the story he was trying to tell. And that shows in the movie, as opposed to some other films where they just throw things in for the gimmick of, oh, it's shot like this, it's different, it's quirky. I don't know.
1917.
Yeah.
Beau, did you see 1917?
I did. I was disappointed. I was kind of hyped for it, and I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah. There's the gimmick movie for you. Go ahead.
One best cinematography.
Very normal, like war movie. It like halfway through, I realized there's nothing new that I was watching.
Yeah, that's what I was saying on the other podcast. Was that?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that. That's what I was saying. Is that I feel like there's just no room left to improvise and make war movies better at this point. Especially if we're only constricted to the same two wars.
Yeah.
Well, after World War III,
After World War III, directors will go nuts. But
Just give it a few months and we'll see.
Really, it just made me sad to watch it because I was really excited for that movie.
Yeah.
I was thinking, we have all these fantastic movies, specifically mostly movies about World War II and the Vietnam War. That's been so great. I was excited to get a taste of the 19 teens and see, a war that's not really discussed very often. And I was just stuck, looking for some sort of plot point, looking for something that made me interested throughout, but nothing really grabbed my attention, And
it could have taken place in World War II, and it wouldn't have been any different.
Yeah.
I think what they could do is just find different perspectives instead of maybe always the front lines. If you know what I mean, they could take more civilian perspectives, but I don't know. I mean,
also not always
either that, or they could come up with like a narrative that resolves around a point that's not necessarily all related to war, like Saving Private Ryan. There's more themes about it than just war. It's the idea of how important family is to an American, that an individual needs to find that person, in order to track him down in order to tell him about his family, get him back home, so that way his family can get him back. And that's the ultimate goal, is to provide for, the Ryan's mother at least one son to return home.
To me, this extends, just beyond the war genre. I think in any genre in general, they need to find new ways to do them. I mean, one genre that really hasn't been explored too much, and that's just because it's so cliche now, is the Western. I mean, you can think of more modern Westerns like Hell or High Water, or I don't know if you guys seen Bone Tomahawk, where they put that horror spin on it. So it's like you can think of any genre, and when directors are successful, when they explore something new and present like something just just original. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on Cowboys versus
Unforgiven is a good example though too. Have you anyone seen that?
Wait, what'd you say?
Unforgiven.
Is that the? Oh, I'm thinking of Unbroken.
It's
Unforgiven.
like early '90s, and he
No.
directed it. It's really good. It's like it's a very like somber kind of retrospective. I mean, Clint Eastwood, is an old man and used to star in westerns. It's almost like meta. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really cool original take on a western.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, not directly related, but forgot to ask this earlier. For Beau specifically, have you seen The Platform by any chance?
I haven't even heard of that. No.
Oh, you should check it out. I mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, but it's a Netflix movie. It's like a Spanish film. It's like an hour and a half long. It's a pretty good, quick watch.
It's like a horror movie.
It's more of like a thriller. You could definitely classify it as a horror, but I'd say it's more psychological.
It's more of a statement piece about society than anything. It's more.
Yeah, there's a lot of clear like themes and messages that are pretty relevant, but also there are definitely horror/thriller aspects that drive that statement.
Well, Darian, why don't you give him like a brief little like summary, kind of like explain what The Platform is?
Yeah, so essentially these people are living in this facility. It's not necessarily deemed a prison, but you call it that for the sake of visualizing this. And there are
correctional facility.
There are hundreds of these floors, and each floor houses 2 people. And all they have in there is what a prison cell would have: essentially a bed, sink, bathroom area. And in the center of each room, and these rooms are stacked on top of each other, there's a hole in the floor, so you can see down and above to the people that are above and below you. And through this hole in the center of each room travels a platform down each level from the top to the bottom. And at the top, it is filled with enough food to feed everybody. And it stays in each room for like a set period of time, right? But obviously, the people on top get the first pick to the food, and the people on the bottom get less. So, I mean, not trying to spoil anything, but people are not getting food, and things happen.
Very
people have to eat. Yeah, it's very clearly metaphorical. It's also, I don't know if you have read or know about like Don Quixote, but they're direct like, parallels to that. I mean, they directly like reference the book in the movie. So
yeah, like all the characters get to bring in one personal item. So the way that Don Quixote is directly referenced is that the main character, I forget what his.
I do not recall either.
Yeah, it's just slipping my mind. But his one possession that he brought in was Don Quixote, like a copy of Don. And so the first roommate that he has wakes up. He tells this great story that also, relates to consumerism and this capitalist evil. He tells a story about how all the people that he knew, all of his friends, went out and bought this incredible knife. Was it?
Yes, you're right.
Yes, it was this incredible. No, it was this incredible knife shop. Was it?
Yeah. So he's watching an infomercial, and they're selling a knife sharpener, and it's basically able to sharpen any knife an unlimited amount of times, and it can sharpen a knife to the point where it could like carve into a rock or whatever.
Cut a brick is the example.
Yeah, and everybody's buying it, and they have all these like people on the TV trying to sell it to him, and people that he knows have bought it, and he's like, I don't cut vegetables, why do I don't really need this, but I kind of want to get it because everyone.
Maybe that's what I'm missing in my life. Maybe that's what I need to turn my life around.
Yeah, so he ends up buying it, and then the next week the same company's selling a knife that never loses its sharpness and never becomes dull. So I don't know, there's a lot of like directly stated things like that. I mean, the whole concept is kind of a direct statement, right, on I guess capitalism, right? You have to kind of get what you can while you're ahead. Another key thing to the plot is like every month everybody is moved to a new level, so like you might not be getting nearly as much food as you got the last month, so you're encouraged to take as much as you can while you can.
It sounds really cool. It sounds like a cool. Not experiment. I can't think of the word, but it sounds cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah, and also it's just really, really well done, and there's a lot of like really provocative shots. I guess they really do a good job of like driving home their message in a impactful way that it just feels really intense throughout, right? So I think it's super cool. It won a lot of awards before it went to Netflix. It's not like a Netflix original or anything. It's just distributed by them, but it's also a quick watch, so you know.
Thanks. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, well, the main reason you probably haven't heard of that is because it is a
Yeah.
In America, we have this tendency to deem foreign films as worse than our films, as having no intrinsic value, which, I mean, is true. We might not find any intrinsic value in them, but that does not mean plenty of excellent. You know, I recently had to, for a film class that I'm taking, had to get in Bollywood cinema, and I watched, I forget how to say, let me look up the title just because I don't want to absolutely butcher it. Diwali,
Ooh.
Oh, DDLJ, bro, classic.
Yeah, DDLJ. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nabil knows.
Bollywood is, you know.
Didn't they make a new one?
Of course, yeah.
They made like a weird meta sequel to it, but that is like one of the most popular, well-known Indian movies, modern times. It was actually, I don't know about coronavirus times, but it's still played in movie theaters every week. That's how popular.
Yeah, and it released in 1995. It has been constantly playing in theaters since 1995.
That's crazy.
It is easily, far and away, the most successful, you know, movie in its respected culture of all time.
Yeah, because it's a perfect blend of old Bollywood in the sense of the traditional Indian values of romance, heroism, with the beginning of a new era of Indians. It's hard to talk about without explaining the whole movie, but about India wanting to modern. Yeah, it's pretty poignant.
That would be cool to do an episode on. I'm very interested now.
Yeah, I'd be down.
I was going to ask Nabil if he wanted to do that because I watched it and I loved it. Keep in mind, though, this is a 3-hour plus long movie.
You have to understand what.
You know, there's an intermission designed for the film because it doesn't take that long, as all Hollywood productions.
Yeah, the thing you need to understand, most of them are on average 3 hours long, have up until recently had built-in intermissions and are filled with song. Because the way that music works and has been the entire history of India is that, and as long as cinema's been around, is that music isn't really religious sensitive or everywhere else in the world where an artist, it's usually packed in. So each movie has 4 or 5 songs, sometimes more. It's from the movies that spread about the culture. So you really get to know how important to India.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
Yeah, because people are still coming out to see this movie over and over again, time after time, because it is such a cult classic in India. It should really be everywhere. It's a fantastic film, but you know, the really great thing about Bollywood cinema that is really present specifically in the movie is the elaborate and, you know, mystical sort of dance and song sequences that occur using the music that is in the movie, where they basically, you know, take themselves out of the actual plot and perform this idealistic choreographed number that is obviously, you know, it looks like a dance number. It looks like what you'd see in a music video. It doesn't look like anything you'd see in an American film where you're like, unless you're watching something more on the lines of, I don't even know of a film, a High School Musical, Glee sort of. But the way that they actually put that into the movies, it doesn't make it seem cheesy. It just represents what the characters are thinking, and it's really the main driving plot point. And do an excellent job with specific DLG, which is why it's all time.
I think when you look back to old Hollywood movies, a lot of them do a similar type thing. Obviously, Bollywood has its own interpretation of that and creation of that, I guess. But you definitely do see it in movie musicals from Hollywood in the 30s and 40s when sound was first being introduced to film. One of my favorite movies and musicals of all time, Singing in the Rain, is actually about that. And introduces song and dance in that same kind of way, where it's like you can't really tell if it's actually happening or not, or if it's just explaining the characters' kind of inner thoughts, feelings about what's happening in the story. And I sometimes wish that would come back, because it's a pretty cool thing. And I think a movie like La La Land actually does bring that back in some ways, and that's why La La Land is referred to as like a love letter to old Hollywood. But yeah, I guess that's just what that made me think of. But bringing it back to Bollywood, there were a couple recent
2 big guys just died.
Bollywood deaths
Yeah.
that I saw in the news recently. If you wanted to talk about that, Nabil.
Rishi Kapoor.
Yeah. So that is the big, suppose, was a more of an older Bollywood figure, and it's interesting that the two people who died were Rishi Kapoor and Irfan Khan. You have probably seen Irfan Khan, because
Made
not only
Spider-Man.
has he been kind of like the Indian, I want to say like Tom Hanks. He's made a few appearances. He was in Amazing Spider-Man. He played a scientist. He was in Jurassic World. If anyone remembers that. He was in The Life of Pi, playing of that character, and he's also been in some incredible international Bollywood. And he died 2 days ago, and Rishi Kapoor died yesterday. And it's really interesting that. Sorry about that. Because Rishi Kapoor is kind of like what I was talking about before in terms of old law. He played a lot of classic like hero roles, and was often known as one of the kings of romance. And Irfan Khan was, he was a fairly young guy. He was 54 years old, and he started to represent the blend of old and new Bollywood through his roles, as well as beginning to show a more modern take that Indian cinema can still be relevant and be, because, and Manny knows this from my Letterboxd profile, but there are a lot of new Indian films that are really just becoming corrosive copies of Hollywood because of just the demographic of India. People are looking, because you have to understand, India has a huge population, the second biggest population, and a lot of that population are people who are, and when you have people in what we would call the gowns, which are basically ghettos, when you have so many people, and all they have, when they can afford to go out to a movie, is they want to see this spectacularism, this fanatic kind of Marvel effect that you can see on a superhero, big budget action, like Fast and that kind of deal. So, without getting too much into that, it's just Irfan Khan really represented the good side of evolution in cinema and how it can be incredible.
I did want to say a couple things, and I think why, because Ben made the connection with like the 30s, 40s films with Bollywood, is like those movies were an escape to happiness. You want to watch these movies and see, oh, okay, on the film these people have success in life. I want to feel that. So I think that's what the purpose of those movies were. And going off Irfan, so I want to start getting to like the Indian gangster movies, Nabil. Like, okay. I was doing a little research, like from the 80s and 90s. I don't know how to pronounce it. Satay, something like that. Or Salam Bombay, which is like one of his first movies. I really want to get into that genre. I feel like those are like some of the, I don't know if those are the first movies, but some of the movies that actually, took the guts to kind of explore the underbelly of the slums. So I'm interested in exploring that.
Oh yeah, there are a ton of those. Yeah, you're really gonna find a lot of those in the older cinema, especially. Mm-hmm. I think you know who Amitabh Bachchan is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's known as the king of Bollywood, and he was in a franchise called Dawn,
mm-hmm.
which deals with that.
Yeah.
It was later remade by SRK.
Really?
Yeah, and he turned it into more of he tried to be impossible. And it was what it was, but it was not. It was just using the name of Dawn for something else. And yeah. So anyway, yeah, there are a lot of good you could check out, explore that.
And if you want a good newer movie from like 2 years ago, 102 Not Out with both of them, with Rishi and Amitabh, it's okay. It's got heart, okay? It's got a little heart in it. That's all I'm gonna say. 102 Not Out.
Yeah, basically, Amitabh Bachchan plays a 102-year-old man. Is the oldest living male.
Yeah.
And he has to find a way. And he's like really happy, even though he's 102. But
and his son is like 70s. Yeah.
And he's grumpy, so he has to play,
And it's actually pretty short, so It's got that on that
it's supposed
side.
to be like a fun comedy movie. The thing is that the actors never give bad performances.
Yeah,
Just sometimes the writing.
It's the
muddled.
it's just always they have a good energy, is what it is.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
pretty fun to watch. It's something that translates to any audience, really.
Yep, and I would say anyone who wants to see Indian movies on their own, if you have Amazon Prime Video, there are a lot of them, and they're pretty easy to find.
We do not support pirating. Let's make that clear. The Filmatic Podcast does not in any way condone or support.
However, we are proudly sponsored by 123 Movies.
We recognize that it is very plausible and very possible to pirate Bollywood.
All right, we should probably step away into a more general. Include everybody. But yeah, that's good. We should do a Bollywood.
Because I think a lot of people, especially Americans, just don't really understand how incredible Bollywood get more. Just because it's another language, doesn't have the budget of a film, doesn't story, character, the actor, the directors are any less capable of creating a product. If anything, they create a spectacle that sweeps you off your far greater than any American can. And I've only seen a few Bollywood. Generally, they are these films that represent sort of kind of a master that you can laugh, cry, smile.
It's really trying to get the whole package in one.
Now, I don't know if I assume a lot of people have seen Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously to the Western audience, this seems like, a great film. I like the movie a lot. Definitely, it's from, I think Danny Boyle directed it. I think it's a good story. But I'm wondering, Nabil, if you know, like, the reception from India itself to the film. Do you think do they think it's kind of a butcher of the Bollywood genre, or is it not representative or whatever?
I mean, as far as what I know, based on what I see on Indian TV and at the time, and what my family, extended family, Indian people I know, I think everyone recognizes that it's a good movie, and everyone recognizes that it's insane that an Indian movie got recognized in American awards. However, it's not really representative overall. Overall, I'm saying it's not that representative. The extent, especially what Jeff was talking, what it can be and what it aims to be. Not to say that this isn't Indian cinema. It's just that it's like, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent, but I'll take too long. But it's like not an indie film getting viral, but I don't know. Anyway,
it's like it's an outside project kind of plugged into a different world, and so it seems kind of like an outsider. Would you say?
Yeah. It's like you're an Indian kid, right? Let's say you're an Indian kid, and no, never mind. That's terrible. That's always not gonna go well. All right, never mind. You get my point, right?
Yeah, I understand.
I don't understand your point. Could you elaborate a little bit?
All right, let's say you're an Indian kid, right? And your cousin who was born in America. Also, he's your cousin, right? He's Indian, but he was born in America. And then he comes to it, and then you both go to school together, both go to a boarding school. Your Indian cousin gets recognized spelling. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like you're the Indian kid. I don't know if that made sense.
That makes sense.
That was
Is this a true story, Nabil?
Yeah, but I'm an Indian-born kid
whose cousin won a spelling bee.
I've got a good question.
Please.
What's the movie you guys disdain? Like you just don't like it for your own reasons.
Uncut Gems.
That's a pretty good answer.
Another Cinderella Story, starring Selena Gomez.
Well, if you don't have absolute disgust for that film, then you probably just haven't watched it.
Well, yeah, because
another Cinderella story.
The 2004 Cinderella Story for Duff is a far superior film.
Oh, far and away, one of Disney's best films today.
Right? It has Chad Michael Murray in it. All right,
Murray.
Chad Michael Murray. He's the prince, right?
Yes, he's.
I don't know if it's Chad Michael. I'm sorry.
His baby blue eyes, Jeff. He's a beautiful man.
I will admit, generally princes in Disney movies tend to be extremely attractive, even though
it's just Jeff is exclusively attracted to Disney princes.
Exclusive.
He's only just attracted to Chad Michael Murray.
And the only just exclusive.
Manny, what's a movie that you absolutely disdain?
Oh, that's a good question, homie. Let me look at my closet. Hold on. Ooh, I don't.
What's the movies he disdains? stains close to heart.
I'm looking like at the V8.
Remember.
So the movies I hate are the ones that for no reason I've built this kind of resentment towards them as a kid. So like when it comes to here, I'm gonna go in the closet. Hold on.
I'm out of the closet, Manny.
All right.
Manny is officially in the closet.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a
Confirmed.
visualization of this. Manny.
You know, I really don't like
Standing.
ants with a Z. I'm gonna be honest. I've never liked ants with a Z. It's creepy looking. It's Woody Allen. It's kind of gross.
What's wrong with
That
Woody
you can
Allen?
stop. What? What?
Jeff, would you
What's
say you
wrong?
prefer the Z ants to the S ants even?
Honestly, I have no reference. I'm not sure if I've ever watched the Z or the S.
All right, is everyone gonna just ignore the "what's wrong with Woody Allen" comment? Or
I'm not gonna say anything
That was
'cause-
obviously supposed to be sarcastic, Ben.
What? Oh, okay.
It was obviously supposed to be sarcastic. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Your humor is just too high IQ for me.
The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. That sucked balls.
Lion
All
King
right,
2?
fuck you. I'm gonna fuck
Sorry.
you up. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Sorry,
Manny.
it's just a shitty sequel. I'm sorry.
Have y'all
Okay,
seen
okay,
Lion
okay.
King 1.5? All right.
Hey, Ben, I was trying to say that and you interrupted me.
Well, I
you
spoke
seen Lion King
first
1.5?
and I spoke louder. All right, I'm gonna go again, Nabil. You can cut this in. Have you guys seen Lion King 1.5?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
not doing that.
The best Lion King movie by far.
Oh, and honestly, I think I would prefer to watch 1.5 over 1 at this point in my life.
One
Well,
and two
that's because they're the same thing, essentially. I mean, except one of them is fourth wall breaking commentary. So why would you not want to watch 1.5?
They're literally telestrating as if they're like Rich Eisen, trying to analyze the play that just broke down for the football. They're doing the exact same thing, and I just think it's absolutely genius for Disney to do that, break the fourth wall in a way that's funny for both kids and adults without, having any real basis just besides literal commentary.
It's a pretty great film.
What?
Rise of Skywalker.
You cut out.
Oh, fuck. All right. Movie
What's
I
Rise of-
absolutely...
That's my answer, Rise of Skywalker. What's yours, Ben?
No.
Mine is also Rise of Skywalker. It's a fucking shit movie, and I get pissed off when Disney Plus comes up on my fucking timeline and is like, watch the entire Skywalker saga on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Fuck you! I will not watch any of it anymore because you ruined the entire fucking franchise with that last movie. I don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. I don't care about any movie that's going to come out in the future. Fucking horrible.
Yeah. Does anyone here disagree with that?
No, I agree. It's similar to what Disney is doing with the MCU, in my opinion. More specifically, Spider-Man.
I do disagree with that. I like Rise of
Uh-oh.
Skywalker.
I haven't actually seen Rise of Skywalker. I don't have an opinion on it. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I want to hear
Force
Beau.
I want to
I
hear.
have to go really soon, but I'll just drop this hot take before I go. I was really hyped when Ray dropped the what's it called, Electric Force or whatever. I don't know the proper name for it. And also the fact that as soon as the opening credits come on and it says that the Emperor's back alive, you're prepared for a ridiculous movie. But I thought it was fun still. And
Listen, before everyone attacks Beau, we need to realize what were the purpose of these movies to begin with.
fun.
You know?
Shit,
Shut
man.
up. Go.
Listen,
Make money.
I
Make
feel
money.
you guys gonna hurt Beau. Don't hurt Beau. He's never gonna come back.
The purpose of every Star Wars film,
Trust me.
Episode 6, to make money and rape people's childhood.
Listen to me, Manny. He made his mind up 10 minutes ago, all right?
I know.
Well,
Listen,
Breaking Bad.
Okay. Honestly, about the new Star Wars movies, I feel like as part of the part of the Star Wars, part of the Star Wars series, they kind of fell flat. But I don't think that was even necessarily due to any fault of their own. Not saying that I thought they were incredible movies. I thought they were enjoyable. But as part of the Star Wars series, they just didn't really go.
All right. See, that's where you're
'Cause-
wrong. That's where you're wrong. I'm gonna stop you right there because The Last Jedi absolutely belongs with the rest of this J.J. Abrams
No.
hack.
Yeah, I
All
would agree
right.
with that.
I disagree.
does not fucking belong anywhere near a modern franchise of movies. I do not want to see him touch anything ever again because
I
Ryan
think The Force
Johnson.
Awakens and Rise of Skywalker.
What? I can't hear you.
Imagine if we were all in a room together,
J.J.
it'd be
are
over.
So far superior to The Last Jedi, but that's
Beau, you're
my
just
opinion.
wrong. You're just
Oh.
wrong.
I'm
I'm sorry, but when you have a competent director and a competent writer who's capable of writing an interesting story that takes old characters and makes them interesting and exciting in a new way rather than just refeeding us the same bullshit and even more bullshit over
not
and
the
over
same,
again
though.
for a 2.5 hour movie.
Well, no, I agree.
I-
There's a lot of bullshit in the movies, but also I think they build a lot on the Star Wars universe in really interesting ways, which
See,
the Last Jedi does too, kind of. But
I thought my problem with Rise of Skywalker more than anything is that I thought that The Last Jedi did that. I thought it built on a lot of things. I thought it was leading to a lot of new ideas and themes to be explored. And then because fans were mad about it and Disney was worried about making money, they brought J.J. Abrams back and were like, give them what they want, give them fan service, give them a story that's completely not, challenging in any way other than being fucking stupid.
Yeah, and they also fucked Colin Trevorrow over, who was set to direct the third movie, and some of his script details leaked a few months ago. I don't know if anyone saw that, but it's actually pretty interesting stuff. Pretty, also, in Ryan Johnson fashion, pretty groundbreaking stuff. Part of it involved Luke's Force Ghost haunting Kylo Ren, and a lot of cool tidbits.
see, I agree that there's that in a storytelling way that The Last Jedi was very groundbreaking. I don't know, but I just think that like I don't know how to say this without sounding stupid, but like Ray Palpatine is just like pretty cool. It's a good conclusion. It's like fascinating. Didn't see it coming, and like in the Star Wars universe, I'm not really like in Star Wars movies. I'm not looking for like anything artistic at all. It's just entertainment to me.
Okay.
I think
I
that's
get that.
agreeable right there. Yeah.
That's
I
why
think-
I mean, like, oh yeah, go ahead.
I think that you represent a majority of people, which is why probably it made a fuck ton of money. A majority of people were like, yeah, this is a good ending. Because I think that most people are just going to Star Wars for entertainment. And to see that conclusion of a story in that way. But I don't know. I wanted something more, and it wasn't there. Maybe that's on me, but
Yeah, after seeing Ryan Johnson have his spin on it and go in such, what Ben and I see as a very creative and interesting direction, and it felt almost like a revitalization or the beginning of one of Star Wars, and then to have the J.J. Abrams back again and do that.
See,
yeah, like what Red said, with the expectation.
I just don't. I feel like the two J.J. Abrams movies are much more. They just feel much more like Star Wars than The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily wrong, and I think that's why I like the Ryan Johnson one so much. Is that
that's fair.
It recognizes, it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't shit on the other Star Wars movies like the way that J.J. Abrams does on Ryan Johnson's, and it respects the past, and it says, okay, that's the past. That was the lesson. This is the new lesson. Anyone can be a Jedi. And all of these really cool ideas. I thought. I'm not saying it was a perfect movie, and there were definitely some flaws. Haha, casino scene and all that, but
yeah, that's tough.
Rose.
Yeah, and Rose.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't like Rose, J.J. Abrams' solution was to write her off.
He should have killed her. They should have killed her. I think would have been much more satisfying.
Yeah, but he literally had a scene where Finn's like, "All right, ready to go," and Rose is like, "General Organa said I have to stay back and read some charts," and I'm like, "Okay,
please do that.
Just kill her, you fucking fuck."
Screen for the rest of the movie. That's how I felt. You guys like Rose?
I'm not saying okay. I'm saying whether you liked or disliked her, or if J.J. Abrams viewed her as a bad character, which I'm saying, you do, and some people think that and say that, then why not write her better? Why write her off? That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Damn, that's some shit.
I agree. I don't know. And I agree with you that it obviously shits on the Ryan Johnson movie a ton, and it's very disrespectful, and it's very it feels like a money grab. But at the same time, it's like an epic conclusion kind of. And
Hmm.
I don't know. My favorite Star Wars movie is not Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith. So
I feel that both same for me. That movie.
That
as
movie
cringy as
fucks.
acting is, and
I mean, like the last half an hour is cool and all, but
I think the whole thing of Revenge of the Sith is pretty.
yeah, we know what you think. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
I just thought for personally so basically Lucas's vision for all the movies was going to be shaky, especially the first three or the prequels because they gave him full control for that.
Yeah.
So obviously, you get the stupid shit out of the first two, but I feel like with the third one, at least he hit a right notch, and it's just a whole tragedy of a story, and I really liked it. I mean, that was
great.
I don't know about you guys, but that was I remember being 5 years old. That was my Star Wars movie. That was the one that was everywhere. So I really liked the story, and
That's one I wasn't allowed to watch until I was 8 because it's rated PG-13. But
that's why my issue though is that should have been it movie wise. Personally, I think
Well, at least that saga, yeah.
That's just if they wanted to do something new, but for me that the story ended there for the Skywalker whatever. So
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, I was perfectly content with all the. I don't know if anyone read the extended universe stuff.
yeah,
That was enough, Anyway,
all right, I have to go, guys. I'm sorry to leave early. I really enjoyed being on the podcast. I'm grateful, Nabil and everyone, for having me. This is a good.
All right.
thanks for being on.
Peace out, Beau.
Yeah, hopefully we get a little. We learn as time goes on, kind of situation.
bye.
All right, bye.
Good having you, Beau.
Whew. So Manny, you have a list of movies?
Well, since this crap started, I've just been trying to monitor everything I've watched or I want to watch.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Like today, I watched I don't know French. VIVRE space SA Savi something Savi.
Viversa.
Yeah, which was from the new wave, which was pretty interesting. I saw another what's his name Noah Baumbach, whatever, the Meyerowitz stories. That was
I've been wanting to see that.
so, and I also saw Francis Ha. So
I'm
looking
down
at
to talk
that,
about Francis Ha.
yeah, looking at those two and Marriage Story, I'm starting to get the general sense of what his direction is like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's very interesting, the characters he uses, the type of characters. I don't know if you want to go about that, Ben, or whoever's seen those movies.
Yeah. I totally think that he writes characters in such an interesting way. And I think, there's some discussion Greta Gerwig in there also. She co-wrote Francis Ha with him. I haven't seen the Meyerowitz stories, but I've seen Marriage Story, and I've seen Madagascar 3, and
Wait, did he do
yeah,
it?
no,
Nice.
he wrote Madagascar 3.
Which
The
one was
fucking
that? They're both blended together.
The circus, Afro circus, Afro
Ah,
circus.
yes,
That one?
yes,
That one?
yes.
Yeah, that one. He wrote that. I don't know if he wrote the Afro Circus song, but I wouldn't be surprised because that is a masterpiece in itself. And his other films, I think, the way he writes characters and writes dialogue between them is probably my favorite of a modern director. I think he writes them in such a human, believable way.
It's very natural, the dialogue.
Yeah.
And okay, so this is because I really like Francis Ha, but I'm of two different mindsets of it. And one is I kind of hate these. I don't hate these people, but there's something about them I don't know. But then there's another part of me. It's it's fun to follow the story of this chick who's kind of ditzy and she's going through all this stuff and she's not very smart with her money and this and that. But it's it's nice to follow. He has a very a good way of bringing out good side of people you wouldn't, if this is real life, you wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think I would talk to her in real life. And also for the Meyerowitz story, it's Dustin Hoffman's an old man, and he was kind of. It also deals with divorce as a Marriage Story, and he's kind of. It's about the repercussions of their childhoods and their relationships, and he's kind of. I wouldn't want to talk to that old guy either, but he's pretty good at bringing the good out of people. I like his films; they're pretty good.
Yeah, and it's actually a conversation we had last night on our Nogs disc, where I was talking to Justin about it, and he was like, "I hate everyone in Marriage Story," and I was
No,
like,
yeah.
Okay, like, yeah, I kind of hate most of the people in it too. Like, most of them are assholes, but they're also fucking humans.
Exactly.
Like, not every human, especially humans in such a stressful environment, are gonna be acting in a way. What?
I was just gonna say New York families. You know how they are.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about the like the people he talks about is like, I want to say they're more privileged people. They're not, you know, you can always hear them talk about, oh yeah, my dad's gonna pay for the loan. The Meyerowitz story, he's an artist, they have money, but there's still struggles in those stories. And I think it's something to, it's like a balance that you gotta look at. People, no matter what point you are in life, there's gonna be struggles, and that's just from these three films that I've seen. That's what he represents.
One thing that I personally really liked about Marriage Story is like, while the characters like themselves just like did not seem likable just because of like the way that the film was going. Go off what you guys were saying, like it definitely just paints them as like very normal people. Like they're not like people in a movie that are like great at dealing with situations and they know exactly what to do because it was all scripted. It's just like them living through a stressful situation where they don't know what to do. They don't, when they know that they want to end up happy in the end. So like I don't know. I feel like when people are put in situations like that where they're like, not necessarily their livelihood, but like their like way of life is kind of put at risk, and then like just stuff is put into question, like, you know, just like general life things like being put into question, like their, you know, their marriage and like the way that they live being changed. I think that just puts anybody into a mindset of like kind of panic mode where it's just defense and like you just trying to get yourself through it, and that's really all you can focus on. And like while that does come across as like negative for those characters, I feel like it's definitely just very relatable, because I know like when people are upset, you know, like they probably do a lot of stuff that they don't feel super great about and feel like they're the person in that movie that nobody likes. I don't know, it's kind of nice to know, like as a viewer, that like that's not something that you're going through alone. Like that is just a human thing.
Exactly, that's what makes them so relatable, and what makes the story so compelling is that telling human stories that, you know, regardless of the fact that, like in Marriage Story, I mean, they're a fucking upper class family who, oh, should we live in LA or New York? Like, that all seems very like, alright, you're trying to decide which fucking top tier society you should live in and raise your son in, and what's the best school for him. But I mean, if you strip it down, it's about the relationships between the characters, and that is something, those feelings that they're experiencing, and that is portrayed through the dialogue and the different scenes, is something that everyone can relate to, regardless of your class, regardless of whatever.
Yeah, not to steal.
Marriage Story was my least favorite. I didn't hate it, but like I think it was I see what you're saying, Bill. That's kind of like a thing you see in each of the three movies a little bit. But for me at least, I enjoy it regardless. It's like oh, I should not like this, but he's telling us a good story, and it has all the elements of good film, and it's worth a watch. Let's just say anyone see Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal? That's a good one.
I want to watch that. It's on my list.
Yeah, that's a weird one. It's only
Speaking of...
Yeah, sorry.
No, you go. I was going to change the topic.
No, just going off of Jake Gyllenhaal, that guy is also a powerhouse. And
I was going to say his movie Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
How many of you guys have seen that? That one's probably up there for me, and as just like films of all time.
Oh, easily. It's one of my...
I feel like his performance in that is like, the way he did it at least is just unmatched.
I'm not even a fan of Jake Gyllenhaal, but his performance in that movie is just immaculate.
I think not only his performance, but the theme, you know, conveyed through his performance, through the story. I don't know who directed that film, but I remember watching that a couple of years back. You know, for modern times of the 24-hour news cycle and this kind of cycle of violence feeding into profit for corporations, I think is more relevant than ever today in 2020. So I think it's a great film to rewatch. I believe it's on Netflix.
It was, but it got taken down. It's no longer on Netflix.
Well, 1, 2, 3 movies it is. Insert fucking ad reading for 1, 2, 3 movies, Nabil. Let's go.
Yet again, the Filmatic...
1, 2, 3 movies is the world's best movie site.
Connor, if you continue to support criminals who are undermining the works of all,
Jeff, I'm supporting our sponsors. What?
I was making a joke. What I was
Fucking better, Ben.
the important thing is that the
That's what I thought.
Filmatic podcast has never and will never support the unauthorized selling or
Distributing.
streaming of movies in any sense. We are not.
Streaming of movies in any sense not allowed. If you are streaming your movies, you are dead to the Filmatic podcast.
Laser discs
We
only.
exclusively play our movies through film reels. We have a film player in the Filmatic garage.
Film player? Film player.
We have a film player.
Film player, Connor. It's a film
I
player.
believe
Yes.
they call it a projector.
It's film, Jeff. What do you think it does? God, Jeff.
Oh, right. Because a film, it plays. So therefore, the device that you put it in is a film player.
Am I wrong? Is it not an item that plays film?
Oh, no. In no sense are you incorrect, but you exclusively are incorrect. If that
Please go deeper into detail for me, Jeff. I'm a little confused.
technically, you weren't wrong, but you exclusively were 100% wrong. So
I see.
Right.
Anyway,
Trying to be a little quiet here. Speaking of streaming, what do you guys see any good Netflix originals lately? I mean, I talked about Extraction. I haven't got around to that yet.
Big Show.
Ooh, I'm actually watching right after I get
You
off
said
this
Tiger
podcast.
King.
I'm planning on watching a new Netflix original that just got released 45 minutes ago, called The Half of It. It is
Okay.
described as a heartfelt, quirky, feel-good dramedy.
All right, have fun with that, bro.
wait, who's involved in production direction?
Let me look. The cast is Leah Lewis, Daniel Diemer, and Alexis Lemire are the
That-
three
that's
stars,
not
and
what
it's
I was-
directed by Alice Wu.
Alice Wu. That sounds very familiar.
Woo, 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 woo.
Alice
Oh,
Wu.
yeah.
WU.
Yes. I'm looking on her IMDb to see what else she has directed. She directed Saving Face in 2004. She was and that is it. That is no,
That is-
okay.
That is it. That is
She's
it.
only been the director for those two films. Yeah.
Yeah, really, she's only directed 2 films. Okay. Well, I'm interested
What?
to see what this is.
I will bring a review to the board after
We do
I
a
watch it
Connor
with my
only
sister.
episode.
It's just me for
Yeah.
2 hours talking about this Netflix original dramedy.
That more than likely is not even 2 hours long.
Oh no, but I will talk about it for 2 hours.
Okay. Thank you, Connor. At least you are bringing a consistent reliability that we expect in the Filmatic Pod Society.
Darian, have you seen any good movies lately?
Besides the ones we've done on the podcast and the platform which we've already discussed.
I think we should do a more in-depth discussion of the platform. I feel like that could be
Yeah. That would
Yeah,
be a good
once,
one.
on its
once
own
Manny and Beau
episode.
watch it. We could and Manny, we could definitely.
Yeah, I definitely.
But I don't want to
recommend
say
that
much
film to
more about
anybody.
it generally. You know.
I
No,
have-
yeah, no.
If you
Yeah.
you might have seen it, I think you would like it. All of you, American Honey
Well,
I
me
saw
too.
it, like advertised, but I did not watch
with
it.
Shia and a bunch of other people. It's sort of it's got Florida Project vibes, where it's exploring that lower class feels, and it follows this girl and just a group of teen kids that are just making their way, and it's pretty long, but I think if you like Florida Project, you would like this. It's a little more
I did
adult.
like Florida Project. So, do we have any big discussion points remaining, or
I took to Instagram. This time I didn't use the live feature, but I just posted on my story the questions thing. Turns out no one gives a shit. Evan's the only one who responded.
that is not where I was expecting that to go?
I can promise you I would have responded.
Yeah, everyone who gives a shit is on the podcast.
What did
This
Evan?
is for when we have dementia. We go back and listen to our
Yeah.
young selves.
So Evan's query was, are there any good documentaries you would recommend?
Ooh. I mean, I recently have been watching a lot of crime documentaries.
Ooh, okay, I actually have a real. After Jeff goes, I've got a real.
Okay, well,
Don't say Tiger King. Don't say Tiger King.
So I've been watching this Netflix original show. No, that is a joke.
okay. I would like to point out the fact that Connor exclusively just lied. He said that he wanted to go after I went, but then he undeniably stole the spotlight from me as I was about to explain what I
I
wanted.
apologize, Jeff.
No.
Everybody listen to Jeff. Spotlight return to
No,
Jeff.
it's not genuine. Your apology is not genuine because you are exclusively a bad person.
Oh.
That's a good term.
And you are exclusively just trying to steal the spotlight from me the moment that I get the spotlight. So,
All right, I gave you a chance to take it back. So one documentary that I watched was called 13. It talks about racial issues within the legal system, like from the ground up, just talking about how like laws that have gotten created have been for racial reasons and how like our society today is like built off of deep and seated racism. It's very interesting. It was recommended to me by my Bible professor, actually.
I recently have gone into a few Netflix specials. So one was Making a Murderer. I had never gotten around to watching it, and I finally did, and I'm very grateful that I did. I actually just finished that today, probably about like 3 or 4 hours.
Did he do it, Jeff? Did he do it?
I'm personally in the mindset that I'm not sure if he did it or not, but there is no reasonable evidence to incarcerate. I don't believe that he should be in prison based off of the information that I've been given, which granted, the documentary gives it in a very limited view because they try to present him as an innocent man being put behind bars, and they don't really give much credit to any of the prosecution's standpoints. But from what I've been given, I personally can't see how he could have been convicted of these crimes. But the fact that I couldn't see how he could be convicted of these crimes almost points out the bias in the Netflix documentary more than anything, because he was convicted by a jury of his peers in the state of Wisconsin for this. So, there have been times within the second part of the series where they have brought things in that have made audiences from the first part of the series understand how it was possible that a guilty verdict came out of the case that was presented against Stephen Avery. Yeah, but anyways, I'm personally not for the conviction of Stephen Avery. I would like to see him be retried, because I
Yeah.
want to still remain unbiased, even though part of me really, really, really believes that he is absolutely innocent of this crime. I believe with all the media and everything, really a retrial with people that have no connection to making a murderer and have no idea who he is necessary. But
Which
anyway,
is-
continuing on on Netflix documentaries about crime, another really great crime documentary that's on Netflix right now is The Staircase, which I don't know how many people know about this story. It became a very famous story back in the early 2000s and then in the later 2000s when all the appellate proceedings occurred. Basically, this one man was convicted, not to spoil it, but actual legal proceedings that have occurred. He was convicted of the killing of his wife, despite not having much evidence suggesting that he did it. And it continues to go on, but basically, this woman either fell down the staircase or was bludgeoned to death by her husband. And just finding the contrast between what the defense says and what the state says really leaves a lot of viewers to be confused as to how the legal proceedings could proceed in such a way that would, deprecate the defendant. When, obviously you would believe that some part of the state legal system would, give some constitutional liberties to the defendant, yet they seem to all have been voided in this case, and it almost kind of makes you think specifically about the bias of documentary. And I think a lot of these recent legal documentaries almost make you question the validity of documents themselves, which I think is
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense that like nothing can be made without bias. Like doing something 100% like without bias is I don't feel like possible by a human being, because like no matter what happens, even if all that's
it's
presented in it is
impossible
just
to be
facts
unbiased.
and like evidence.
It's
Oh yeah, no, like
impossible.
like even if it's only facts and evidence and there's not a single untrue or like pushed thing in it, still like the decisions that were made about like what to put in and like what facts and what evidence to show is still biased in itself.
Absolutely, Connor. You were dead on the money on that one.
Thank you, Jeff. Look, a Jeff compliment to Connor. This is a new addition to the Filmatic.
Connor, don't be hyping yourself up yet.
Yet, so there's a chance. I've got a chance, Jeff.
So you're telling me there's a
No.
chance? You like that Dumb and Dumber reference right there?
Sir,
I like
you're
Thank
telling
you.
me-
Okay, can I, speaking on Dumb and Dumber references, this is a personal anecdote from my time
no.
at the University of South Carolina. So, there's a parking garage. It's on, I believe the street is Pendleton. And in the parking lot, because this parking lot it's a school parking lot, but it's directly next to a hotel. The inn at the University of South Carolina. Anyways, so they have in their parking lot an exact 1-to-1 replica, and I mean like exact. I'm not 100% sure whether it is the real or it's a duplicate of the original, but it's an exact 1-to-1 replica of the Mutt van, from Dumb and Dumber, and me and my friends always drive by it, and we called the people from the inn at the University of South Carolina, like all the time, trying to get an answer on this. And every time they deflect our question. But recently, me and my friends, because we don't have much to be talked about, Zoom call. One of my friends had called there because he was so bored, this quarantine, not knowing what to do. And so we asked, what was the purpose of having the Mutt van from Dumb and Dumber outside of their hotel in the parking lot that directly connected to the University of South Carolina's parking lot? And so what they said was that it promoted the fact that the hotel was pet friendly. And the fact that the Mutt van
They paid money for the Mutt van replica.
I'm telling you, it's perfect. It's a perfect replica.
There's no way. They must have filmed a scene in there or something.
I'm telling you, I would not be even somewhat surprised if this was the Mutt van that was actually from the movie. But just for the fact that they had it, and that they claimed the reason why they had it was to promote the fact that the hotel was pet friendly. It was just extremely funny to me, and I thought it was worthy of being a filmatic.
It's a good, cool story. Anyone else got some cool stories involving movies?
Well, actually, the movie Dolphin Tale.
Oh boy,
Get this to your
Not again. Not again.
this guy's a maniac.
Dad worked on.
Wait, what about it, dude? I don't know if everyone heard the last one, the last episode.
No, it's fine. We don't have to talk.
Obviously, Beau didn't. Be real.
About it. No, my dad for the company Hanger, which is actually advertised in the movie, but he has personally had a part in Dolphins.
That is just.
Oh yeah,
funny.
how do you know?
Sick fuck.
How do you know?
Fuck.
How do I know?
Yeah, were you there or something? Were you watching?
Yes,
Oh my god.
Just because you watched the movie?
I've actually gone to his office and watched him for the dolphin.
But have you seen the dolphin?
Yes, I have. The dolphin is actually on display. Not on display, but it's in the Clearwater Aquarium.
Animal.
A mere drive
You-
from our
You
hometown.
freak. How
No,
are
do you
you
like to
so okay
watch,
talking
or-
about this?
Do you watch or you join in, or what is the?
I just watch. I don't have the skill to join in.
We try to be accepting of all creeds and cultures, but this is something else. This is
How
something
much of what I said is going to be bleeped out?
None.
else. Well, everything that's inappropriate. So 95%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a story all about how my life got flipped and turned upside down.
Shut up, shut up. Okay, since no one else has a story or anything relevant to bring up, I thought that I would spotlight a certain media group that puts out videos on YouTube.
Smosh.
Not Smosh.
L Smosh?
Shut
So,
up.
for individuals
Put the sound effect in there, Nabil.
Yeah, it's in there.
All right.
So, for individuals that follow this podcast that have an affinity towards sports, I have a suggestion for you. There's this YouTube. Mostly, I watch their video products through YouTube, but they also have a lot of really great articles. SB Nation, but specifically, the producer and writer John Boyes puts out a lot of great content. He has this series called Dorktown, where in which he investigates certain aspects of sports statistics. And the name Dorktown is really fitting because he goes to extreme lengths to provide an analytical and statistical matrix for the events in sports to be considered in a different light, 10 to 20 years onward, even further in some cases. Recently, they put out this series of incremental videos in the Dorktown series about the Seattle Mariners, which, as a person that loves sports but doesn't have any sort of love for baseball, I was able to find this series incredibly enticing because they present the entire history of the Seattle Mariners back from any origin beyond the 1930s that could have potentially led to this. So the way that they bring this in is they talk about arson and they connect arson in parts of Seattle to and one of the greatest one of the most prolific arsonists in the United States history to the eventual adaptation of a Major League Baseball team. And the entire course of the story, you find so many ups and downs in the course of the Mariners' history. You find so many interesting facts, so many fascinating stories. And this this content creator, John Boyes, puts it in such a way that even people who are complete laymen's to the field of baseball find it incredibly desirable to continue watching the series. So whether you're a sports fan, whether you're a baseball fan, whether you're if you're just a fan of statistics in general, I think there is a really great series here for you to watch. I highly recommend it to anyone, including people that don't like statistics and baseball. I think it's just an interesting thing for any intellectual to focus in on this and try to see the arguments made in a way that makes this story be able to be told so beautifully. They're putting out their next episode in the series, I believe, on Thursday, which would be the 7th of May, somewhere around there. So, highly recommend to everyone to check that out, whether you have any affinity to sports or not.
You lost me at individuals who listen to this podcast. No, that's actually pretty cool. And what'd you say that was on?
It's on SB Nation. If you search up John Boyes, JONBOIS on Twitter, he has a very funny Twitter. He's a very funny person. He makes sports analytics seem interesting to the sports analytics fan and a person who is neither a fan of analytics or sports. So I would highly recommend that to anyone who has any desire to see any new side towards sports or towards, corporate institutions in general. Because sports ultimately are comprised of corporate.
The
And
sound
with
of
that,
the sound of Ben Casey dry heaving indicates that we're doing it on the podcast.
Started with the burp.
Started with a burp, ends with the heave, and after the show, he vomits.
I do that. If you want to
Can you blame
subscribe to
him?
our
I mean,
Patreon,
Yeah,
can catch
Patreon,
me
you get to
on
see the actual full video of him vomiting. You get an invite link to our Discord server. Yeah, please donate. All right, guys, it's been an interesting one.
that it has.
It's been an experience for sure. I I'm sorry. Darian, how do you feel? How do you feel this podcast?
I feel pretty good about it. I enjoyed having Beau. I know I've been a bit quiet tonight, but a few discussion points I'm not personally, in my opinion, qualified to, discuss in full. I wouldn't want to give an uninformed stance on anything personally, but I've enjoyed listening and I've enjoyed being invited.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I've just personally, haven't seen the Star Wars movies. I'm not too big into them, but I always enjoy hearing about it. I've seen the original saga when I was younger, so there's a bit of nostalgia there. Just not a big draw for me. And there's still a long list of movies that I need to watch from the past year. So, most of them have been spoiled, but it's always good to hear more good things. So I will actually convince myself to get out there and watch them when the list keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, no, I think next time we're going to start probably going back to singular focus format, watch some more movies on Netflix.
If it's possible, maybe we can do not like a lot of movies, but maybe one or two of a certain director and talk about the director. And
Yeah, that could be an idea.
so we can expand a bit.
Have
instead
a
of just-
Yeah, I mean, I know they put...
Thomas Allen episode, a Quentin Tarantino episode.
An Edgar Wright episode, possibly.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Ooh, an Edgar Wright episode would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Tarantino, Django Unchained is back on Netflix, so
This is true.
that one's on there. I think Inglourious Basterds on there, so that could be a duo. Yeah, a lot of stuff to come. A lot of great things. Thanks, guys. Thanks for appearing on the podcast. Thanks for your patience, and over and out. Let's all sign off. Let's all say our names and sign off. Let's do that. We haven't done that before.
All right, this is Connor Park signing off.
And that's
This
it.
is
And I just realized there's no order to this. Okay, we're gonna go from the bottom of the screen to the top.
Everyone's screens are entirely different, Nabil.
Is this true?
Yeah.
ABC order then.
All right, ABC last name order. All right.
all right. This is Buster Cervix signing off.
This is Beau Agrawal.
Okay. All right, you've been listening to Manny Ray.
Assalamu alaikum. Oscar Mayer Bacon.
That's racist, bro. Darian Nigro. Just say like buyers. God, I hate. Okay, Jeff Williams.
My job is to botch this ending as much as possible.
Connor Park.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
Sorry, not the deal.
Ben Casey.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
And I've been Nabil Sharif. Asking, what am I doing? You've been listening to Filmatic. See you next time.